My deepest fear isn't dying. It's not public speaking. It's not heights or snakes or spiders, although I am not a fan of spiders. My deepest fear is that I'll get to the end of my life and realize I rushed through all of it. Busy being busy. That I spent my precious time and energy proving, striving, pushing and hustling. Trying to be good enough, trying to be someone, trying to matter. Always thinking about the next thing, the next task, the next project, the next video. And I would have missed the whole point because of urgency. So I was nearly born in a taxi. I was the fourth of 4 kids, the youngest child, or
my baby,
as my mum likes to call me, or my siblings would say,
run to the litter.
Mum says, I came out in a rush.
And she's been rushing ever since.
And apparently how you're born is meant to reflect your temperament. Fast, urgent, no time to waste. That is me. So do I rush through life because it is my temperament and that's the way I was born? It's fixed in the stars? Or could I potentially be avoiding something? Hint, it's probably the latter. This may be familiar, looking externally outside of self for validation, looking externally to prove that you're worthy, that you're lovable. Because if you have value to people, then you're valuable. You have worth. If you don't have worth, if you're not valuable to people, then you can easily be abandoned or discarded or left behind. This is all core wounding and it's universal. Lots of people experience this. So if you feel that you're rushing through life, avoiding being with yourself, unable to sit with yourself without the distractions of the television or the phone or the computer or whatever, if that's you, then this video really might have something in it for you. I was reflecting on the book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware recently. Bronnie is a palliative care nurse, and the regrets that she heard from the people at the end of their lives is really sobering. The top 5 regrets of the dying are: number 1, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. This was the most common regret and is so sad that so many of us have not pursued the life that we want due to so many factors, expectations and external pressures, and just not even thinking that we can. Number 2 is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This one really hit home for me. Seriously, if you are chasing your tail on the hamster wheel of life, poor money choices, spending money to make you feel better about the fact that you're in a job that you don't like and having to work really hard to just keep up paycheck to paycheck, maybe the golden handcuffs because you're in a job that you don't love but it pays you well enough that you are afraid to take the leap into something else. Relatable. Sound familiar? Number 3. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. For years, I didn't speak up. I didn't say what I wanted or ask for what I wanted or even really know what I wanted half the time. I honestly thought that I was easygoing. I used to go with the flow and I'd be adaptable and a bit of a chameleon, and people would be like, wow, you just fit into any situation. It's like you're a shapeshifter. And I used to think that that was a good thing, and I realize now it's actually not a good thing. It shows a huge lack of boundaries. And also, it's funny because if I was on my own, I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what shop I wanted to go into. I knew where I wanted to eat, what I wanted to do. But as soon as someone else was with me, all of a sudden, I just lost my way. And it was like, oh, I don't know, where do you want to eat? Or I don't know, where do you want to go? Like, I know I'm not alone here. I'm not like that anymore. I know exactly what I want to eat, no matter who I'm with. Number 4, I wish I had have stayed in touch with my friends. I feel like many friends are with us for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And if it's just a season, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything about them or about me if our friendship doesn't span more than a year or 2 years or a few years or even a few months. Sometimes, that's all it needs. That's you both gave something to each other. You learned something from each other. Perhaps you had like a unwritten contract with each other that you fulfilled, and that friendship is complete. And there's only so many people you can actively keep up with at a time. For me, at this period in my life, I'm focusing on my closest people because it's just not possible to keep up with a big friendship circle. Sometimes I look at people traveling together and maybe there's 10 friends, 10 girls going away on a trip, and I'm like, oh, that would be lovely. But I don't have 10 close girlfriends. I couldn't round up 10 women, I don't think, to go on a trip. And there's nothing really wrong with that because the girlfriends that I would go on a trip with are very, very close and it would be really meaningful. So I am actually okay with that. At the end of the day, you're truly lucky if you have a handful of friends that are really there for you and that you're there for them. I really think it's rude that all these cars think it's okay to drive past when I'm filming. I mean, come on. Now there's a plane. Number 5 is I wish I had let myself be happier. And oh my gosh, this is me. This is so big. The point of life is not to be happy, it's to evolve. However, I really made my life so much harder than it needed to be in the first few decades, torturing myself really with being terrified of criticism and judgment and thinking that I wasn't enough and body image issues and all of the things that a lot of women have, like just wasted so much time. And this is a big one. There's a lot of women out there, young women, but all women, that still are incessantly judging themselves and worried about how they look and just not letting themselves be as happy as they could be. I mean, life is a tough gig. Schoolroom earth is pretty tough. So why we make it unnecessarily extra hard and rob ourselves of the joy that we could have? I heard Bronnie say in another podcast recently, whether something becomes a regret is only dependent on our own judgment of it. So regret is self-judgment. And I love that. I love that so much, because if there are things that we're not proud of or not happy with, we can absolutely review them and learn from them and grow from them. And every blessing can become a curse and every curse can become a blessing. So things that don't go well, our messes, we can absolutely excavate them for so much growth and learning. So if we have regrets, it's really because we're judging ourselves. And judgment is the glue that just keeps things stuck to you. So we really have to be able to forgive ourselves. She also talked about the fear of failure being afraid of people judging you. And that was new for me, because I thought I was in a pretty good place with worrying about being judged. But I do have the fear of failure, and I hadn't connected that if I'm afraid of failing, then it really is linked still to the judgment of others. So that was interesting, something to ponder. I have been working with the fear of failure a lot. I've really tried to cultivate a growth mindset. But when it does come up, and it does come up, fear of failure and fear of being left behind, I try to say, hello old friend, welcome, I see you, I love you, come here, I got you. What is it that you're trying to tell me? You can dialogue with it, the judgment and the fear. You can actually dialogue with it and see what it says. So from time to time, I like to do something called the deathbed review, which is a way of really cutting through and getting to the truth of how you're tracking. I basically imagine myself lying there on my deathbed in my final moments, hopefully with someone that I love holding my hand. And I ask myself, how did I go? I look back at my life and I ask myself, how did I go? Did I feel like I lived a good life? Did I love well? Did I contribute something? Did I accept myself? Just reviewing, just looking back and just get a feeling sense of how you went if you continue on the way that you're going now. And if the answer isn't what I want, then you have the power to change it, because we literally can change our timeline. We can jump timelines. If we look back and see that we're tracking in a way that we don't want to track, we can make changes and create a new choice, and then we're literally going in another direction and a new timeline opens up. And also, when we are sitting on our deathbed or lying on our deathbed and we're reflecting all the people we were worried about being judged by, it so does not matter, because they're not with us. They're not in the room with us holding our hand. They actually don't matter at all. So it can really put everything into perspective quite quickly, this exercise. So if you've followed along, you know that I'm an actor, and my name is Maggie. I haven't said that yet. Hi, I'm Maggie. Welcome to my channel. So back in the day when I was studying acting, I was in a masterclass. It was very intense and very wild. The teacher was part genius, part psychic, and honestly, he was a bit unhinged. He's the son of a very famous acting coach. I'm not going to say who. If you know, you know. And in this masterclass, he said that we're all going to die and we're going to write our own eulogies and perform it at our own funerals. And we could perform it as ourselves or as a family member or loved one. This might sound crazy, but if you're an actor or creative, you know that this is just another day at drama school, honestly. So I felt into it and I decided to perform my own eulogy as myself. It felt like a very, very sacred experience. It was quite full on. I picked the music, Whitney Houston's Greatest Love of All, and I spoke as if I had passed, and I addressed all of my family members. It was absolutely gut-wrenching. I was bawling my eyes out. Everyone was bawling their eyes out. There was about 20 of us in the class, so by the end of the day, it honestly felt like we had all attended 20 funerals. And it was devastating. And I was just like, I can't even explain. And then at the end of the day, the teacher got us all up on the floor and he was like, guess what? You're not dead. And we're all like, oh, we're not dead. We're not dead. And we were like jumping up and down. It really was very weird. But I really felt like I'd been reborn, like I'd woken up from a horrible nightmare. Now, if you're not an actor and you're not a creative, that might sound crazy, absolutely nuts, and it is nuts, but I kind of love that. I just kind of, love the drama of it. But that exercise really shook me. And then a few days, weeks passed, and that feeling left, completely forgot about it, started taking life for granted again. And that's where the deathbed review can be really, really helpful. So I invite you to have the courage to do your own deathbed review. You don't have to write your own eulogy, but take a few moments to get into a quiet, settled, meditative space and feel into the last moments of this life. See how you went. Are you happy with the path that you're on? Maybe you could tweak things and go in a slightly different direction. It's completely up to you. You have that power. You've probably heard no one's coming to save you, and this is really a wonderful way where you can take your life into your own hands and really do an audit. How am I going? Do I like the trajectory that I'm on? If not, what can I change? Let me know in the comments how this lands for you. I'd love to know. I read all the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do come over to Instagram and say hi. I'm also opening up some one-on-one spots for coaching. If you're interested, get in touch. hello@theinspiredcoach.com.au. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.